everyone, welcome back to my channel, Numerics with Nadia. In today's video, we're going to go over how to multiply and divide positive and negative integers. So our lesson plan for today, first we will go through the multiplication rules, then we will go through the division rules, and then we will make our way to lots and lots of practice problems. If you haven't watched the other videos in this pre-algebra playlist, I have 2 videos on adding and subtracting positive and negative integers. I'd recommend watching those first before this one. So to start, we're going to write out our multiplication and division rules. I'm going to do them side by side so we can compare them easily. When we multiply a positive number times a positive number, we get a positive answer. When we multiply a negative number times a negative number, we get a positive answer. If we multiply a positive number times a negative number, we will get a negative answer. And for the last combination, a negative number times a positive number would also give us a negative answer. So if we look at the multiplication rules that we just wrote out, if we look at the top 2, when we multiply with the same signs, our answer will be positive, right? Positive times a positive gave us a positive answer, and so did negative times a negative. So same signs will give a positive answer. The bottom 2, they have opposite signs, right? Or different signs. When we have different signs, we get a negative answer. So now that we've gone through our multiplication rules, let's get into the division rules. If you divide a positive number by a positive number, your answer will be positive. If you divide a negative number by a negative number, your answer will also be positive. If we have a positive divided by a negative, our answer will be negative. And for the last combination, a negative divided by a positive would also give us a negative answer. So again, just like multiplying, we're going to compare our rules. And for our rules, we see that, again, the top 2, if you have the same signs, your answer is positive. And for the bottom 2, different signs or opposite signs will give us a negative answer. So the rules are essentially the same for multiplying and dividing here. So now that we've gone over our rules, let's take some time to do some practice problems. We're going to have 2 different types of questions being asked here. For part 1, the directions say to solve the following questions using multiplication and division. So for number 1, we have negative 12 times 3. And in this case, we have different signs, right? And we're multiplying. We have a negative times a positive. We know that our answer will be negative. So let's multiply 12 times 3 normally, and then we know our answer will be negative. We know that 12 times 3 is just 36, so our answer would be negative 36 for number 1. Now we'll move on to our second practice problem for this section. For number 2, we have negative 6 times negative 8. Both of our signs are negative, right? We have a negative times a negative. When we have the same sign, we expect a positive answer. So we'll just multiply the 6 times the 8 normally. 6 times 8 just gives us 48, and we're expecting a positive answer, so that would be it. We would get 48 for number 2. All right, now we'll get into our third practice problem for today. For number 3, we have 42 divided by negative 7. So we have a positive divided by a negative, and since they are opposite signs, we're expecting a negative answer, right? So when we do 42 divided by 7, we know that that is 6, but we know our answer should be negative. So our answer for number 3 would be negative 6. Now we will move on to our fourth and final question for this section of the practice problems. For number 4, we have negative 32 divided by negative 4. And we have a negative divided by a negative here. So we are expecting a positive answer. When we do 32 divided by 4, we get 8. So 8 would be our answer for number 4, since we are expecting a positive answer here. All right, you guys, now we'll get into part 2 of our practice problems for today. For part 2, the directions say to fill in the missing numbers. So for number 1, we have -3 times blank gives us -36. So our first number is negative and our answer is negative. So that would mean that the blank in between, what we're looking for, should be positive, right? Because different signs give a negative answer. So what we're going to do to find out that missing blank is we're going to divide. And we know that we divide -36 divided by -3. And when we do that, it's a negative divided by a negative, so our answer will be positive. We would do 36 divided by 3, which just gives us 12. So 12 would be our missing number for number 1. Now we'll get into our second practice problem for this section. For number 2, it says blank times 5 gives us -55. So our 5 is positive, the -55 is negative, right? So we know that our blank should also be negative because opposite signs multiply to a negative number. In order to find out what the blank is, what we have to do is we have to do -55 divided by 5 to figure that out. Negative divided by a positive would be a negative answer. We know that 55 divided by 5 is just 11, but since the rule tells us our answer needs to be negative, -11 would be our missing number for number 2. All right, you guys, let's get into our third example now. For number 3, we have blank times -9 equals -63. So our -9 is negative, our answer -63 is negative. So that missing blank should be a positive number, right? So now what we'll do is we'll go through and we will divide. We know that 63 divided by -9, well, a negative divided by a negative gives us a positive. 63 divided by 9 is just 7. So our missing number for number 3 would be +7. Now we will get into our final practice problem for today's lesson. For number 4, we have -80 divided by blank equals 20. -80 is negative. Our answer 20 is positive. So our missing number and the blank will also be negative because we know that a negative divided by a negative gives us a positive answer, right? So same as before, we are going to divide in order to see what our missing blank would be. In this case, we'll do -80 divided by 20. We have a negative divided by a positive, so our answer will be negative, right? And we know that 80 divided by 20, well, that's just 4, but it should be -4 here. So our answer for number 4 will be -4. All right, you guys, great work today. That is the end of our lesson for multiplying and dividing positive and negative integers. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please like if you did, comment any questions you have down below, subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you guys next time.